Martha, she was a little fast. I can't hold you. My girl was a little, she was living her life like it was golden. I think they went to Paris for their honeymoon, somewhere in France for their honeymoon, child. And I think she was at the Louvre. And why did she end up? She said it was just so beautiful and so emotional. She kissed some man, child. Not you kissing a stranger, girl. Well, they didn't have COVID back there, but I'm sure they had a whole bunch of other conditions she could have got from kissing a stranger, child. But they praise God, be God. She didn't get anything. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Life with me, your girl Keidra, aka your favorite journalist. Oh my gosh, y'all! So I watched the Martha Stewart documentary, so you don't have to, or you still can. The documentary, it made me look at Martha in a whole different light. It gave me a lot more respect for her because, you know, when Martha Stewart first came out, I was not born, so I didn't really know a lot about her except for, you know, who she is now. And I remember when she went to jail and how big of a deal it was, obviously, for the culture. Like, it was a huge moment, but it gave me insight into who Martha Stewart really is, child. And let me tell you, I'm not mad at Martha. I'm not mad at Martha. You know why I'm not mad at Martha? Because she started from the bottom. Now she's here. She's definitely, we're not saying Drake lines. I canceled him. I forgot. Anyway, I'm not mad at Martha because she really came from humble beginnings. Came from New Jersey, y'all. Her dad was a salesman and not even a really good one. Her mom was like a seamstress or something like that. They were very humble people. She had mad siblings, but she said that she was her dad's favorite. But her dad was also, like, she said her dad was a bigot, aka a racist, and that he had like, he drank wine every night. She was like, oh, I'm not saying he an alcoholic, but he drank wine every night. Baby, it's given an alcoholic. I'm just saying. We gonna call a thing a thing. Anyway, so yeah, she just was like, she grew up with him, but she learned how to garden from her family. That's where she learned everything. All of her siblings learned how. They were a big gardening family, and that's where she learned how. So she's gardening in Jersey, blah, 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 but she always knew she was going to be a little bit of something, right? So she started modeling, because my girl had the look. She was cute back in the day, you know, whatever, but nothing crazy. She wasn't doing runway or like Victoria's Secret wasn't around back then, but yeah, my girl was modeling. You know, she was cute, but she was giving all her money to her mother because she, you know, they was poor, so she was giving up that check. And then she goes from modeling, and then she ends up going to Yale, right? Let me fact check that. She ends up going to Barnard College. Barnard, you know, is very, very posh, you know. Barnard, you know, it's a little bit, you know, it's a little posh. It's an all-girls school, you know, up there right next to Columbia. It's not Columbia, but it's right next to Columbia. But, you know, you get the vibes or whatever. So, you know, when you next to Columbia, my girl made a smart move. It's not Columbia, but you next to Columbia. And that means you get to be next to the Columbia students because they usually have money, you know. Ching ching. So my girl was smart. She met a friend. Her friend was like, oh girl, you with me, my brother, girl? He fine, and he go to Yale. Martha was like, absolutely I do. So she ended up marrying him. See, that's why it matters about the social circles that we keep, ladies. I know I was taking notes because she didn't come from money, but she was able to marry into money, right? Smart, very cutesy. So yeah, so she marries him or whatever, and they end up having a relationship, and they end up getting married. So it's very interesting because our girl Martha, she was a little fast. I can't hold you. My girl was a little, she was living her life like it was golden. I think they went to Paris for their honeymoon, somewhere in France for their honeymoon, child. And I think she was at the Louvre. And why did she end up? She said it was just so beautiful and so emotional. She kissed some man, child. Not you kissing a stranger, girl. Well, they didn't have COVID back there, but I'm sure they had a whole bunch of other conditions she could have got from kissing a stranger, child. But they praise God, be God. She didn't get anything. But yeah, she just was like, it's funny because the producer on the documentary called her out and was like, weren't you married? Wasn't that infidelity? She was like, no, we were just both passionate people, and it was just a kiss. Girl, that was infidelity, girl. You was trying it, but whatever. So she gets married and she has a baby, and she figures out that she's probably not the most affectionate mother. She didn't grow up with like hugs and kisses in her household, so she wasn't really giving that to her daughter. She was like, she was a little bit cold to her daughter, but that's not what the story is about. She ends up, you know, having her daughter or whatever. Then she's like, you know, wants to figure out something for her own. She's working on Wall Street, blah, blah, blah. She's a stockbroker, right? Boom. And remember, this is the lesson to you guys. It's about who the company you keep. You know what I mean? Being a woman, going to Barnard, that's cute and everything. Nah. But, you know, somebody knew somebody that probably helped her get into that job, because you just don't walk in there, right? They just don't take too kindly to women. So Whatever. My girl gets her job in there. She's doing a good job. She's doing her thing, meeting more successful people, meeting more business people, meeting more rich people, whatever. And then she starts really getting into her own business. She starts getting into gardening. She starts getting into homemaking and, cooking and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't really take her serious at first, right? Because they're like, all right, you're a woman, like you're cooking and you're cleaning and, she starts blowing up. On the side, she wanted to like fill out her creative side because my girl is a gardener. She's a chef. She does all these things in the home or whatever, right? So she actually starts cooking and doing dinner parties. And they're like, oh my gosh, Martha, you do such a good job with these dinner parties. She's doing these lavish tables with like fruit and cheeses and meats and everything, like giving like charcuterie board, but not a charcuterie board, a charcuterie table. My girl was giving a charcuterie table before we even knew what charcuterie was. Like she was really doing it up. Her events were beautiful. She would have like ice liquor bottles everywhere. Like she was just doing these big grand parties. They were like, girl, you're really, really good at this. So people start to, get the buzz or whatever. She starts doing this or whatever for money. And then she also writes a cookbook. When she starts writing them cookbooks, that's when things really start taking off on my girl Martha. The cookbooks turn into magazines. The magazines turn into TV shows. It just starts growing. Her empire just starts growing. And she ends up becoming the first self-made female billionaire. Then she starts blowing up and putting things at Kmart. And everybody's like making fun of her, like, oh my gosh, Kmart. Yeah, no one wants to shop at Kmart. But girl, Martha made Kmart lit. I remember, I think Kmart was actually my first job. Kmart was, I think, my first job. I will never forget one time, a South Asian woman, when I was working at Kmart, she came in with a paper bag. And I think the paper bag said like $5 on it. And she gave me that $5 so she could buy, and I had to count all of that change. It wasn't even quarters. It was like pennies, nickels, dimes. And she bought like a shirt for her son to go to school, like a school shirt. That was like one of my most memorable moments working at Kmart. I ended up getting fired because I was a no-call, no-show a couple of times, but whatever, I digress. So yeah, I remember Martha Stewart's house being in Kmart. And this was probably, she was lit at this time, but this was like the 2000s. But anyway, again, I digress. But yeah, she really made Kmart lit. I know I was buying Martha Stewart stuff, and I still would. I love Martha Stewart stuff. So she's lit. She's that girl. But when you're that girl, like we saw in the Megan documentary, like we saw how Megan Thee Stallion was treated. When you're that girl, you give what? You have what? Haters. That's when the haters come. So they just hated Martha Stewart because she just was like the perfect house mom, and she just made people feel like they weren't good enough. And it was very interesting because that's what I thought about Nara Smith in the beginning, but then I realized that Nara Smith is a Mormon, and Mormons actually have a religion that says in their Bible that they may have erased it now for good measure, but at one point it said in their Bible that being black was a sin, and they had to cleanse the environment by having mixed babies to make the race pure, blah, 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 blah. And I remember when people were hating on Nara Smith. Well, I thought they were hating, but now I think that it's for good reason. They were saying Nara Smith makes them feel like that she's not good enough, that they're not good enough. Well, now we don't support Nara Smith because we know that she's Mormon and they're anti-black, and her husband's anti-black, and he supports Trump and she supports Trump, and they're trying to erase their blackness. That's why she got with him. Anyways, I digress. So yes, back to Martha Stewart. They were hating on our girl Martha because she is doing her thing. She's that girl. Is she mean? Yeah, but what business person isn't mean? Is she a little cruel? Probably. But again, what boss have you had that hasn't been cruel? I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that why is Martha being condemned and treated bad, but y'all letting these men get away with it? I'm just saying we've been letting men get away with being men and mean bosses for a long time. But when Martha wants to do it, now it's a problem. Now she has to be stopped. So they stopped her. Child, and my girl used to be a stockbroker, so she's trading, she's doing her little stocks or whatever, she getting her little money. Her friend calls her friend opened up this pharmaceutical business and was like, girl, we have to close down, whatever case may be. No, I'm lying, he didn't call her, he called the stockbroker and allegedly said, we have to close down, this isn't working, blah, 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 blah. So he hits up Martha, the stockbroker hits up Martha, like, yo, Martha, like, you should pull out the stock. Martha's like, okay, cool. She pulls up the stock. She says that she didn't know why. She just pulled out. She says she had no idea that the business was going to tank. That's what she says, but they accused her of insider trading. And it's so crazy because she was on a yacht with one of her girlfriends at the time, her girlfriend and a couple of other folks. And she had also had a man at this time, right? She was dating the head of Microsoft. Again, rich people hang in rich people circles, and they date other rich people. I saw a video on TikTok the other day that said that hood guys are out. I love that for us. And I'm happy that we finally realized that as a people, that it's just not the vibe anymore to be outside on the corner on the block doing anything outside and being a thug. It's just not a thing anymore. And I hope that era is really coming to an end and guys start putting regular clothes on and start wearing their pants above their waist and start wearing belts and stop sitting outside, sitting on the corner, listening to music, drinking, smoking. I hope that era is over, and I hope women are no longer interested in those type of men, and hope that we can evolve as people and just become better and just, yeah. Anyways, I digress again. So, yes. Where was I? Oh, right. So my girl was on the yacht enjoying her time or whatever. Then her friend's like, yeah, we got to move this stock. The stockbroker, like, yeah, we have to move this stock. Pull out. Doom. Boom. Next thing my girl knows, she getting hit with charges, baby. She getting hit with insider trading charges. They just say my girl Martha knew that the stock was going to go bad, that she knew the company was going to fold because her and old boy that ran the company were friends. But Martha's like, no, I did not know. Child, they took my girl to trial and they ran her through the ringer, just how we saw they did Megan Thee Stallion when the whole shooting thing happened and how the world turned on her. That's what happened with Martha Stewart. The entire world turned on her. She lost her board seats because she was sitting on the board of like the New York Stock Exchange. She was sitting on the board of Redline, lost all of those. Her husband had ended up breaking up, child, because she said that her husband was cheating on her. And apparently her husband was cheating on her, one of her employees. She moved one of her employees. Martha had this beautiful estate in Connecticut. Martha moved one of her employees on, child, trying to help them through a hard time. Next thing she know, the lady hunching on her husband. But Martha is very interesting because even though she seems cold and stone-faced, she's very vulnerable. She was writing him letters like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do. I can't eat, I can't breathe, I can't sleep without you, babe. Because he had left her at this point. She was getting on a flight one time. She was like, oh my gosh, I hope my plane crashes. Like, I just can't do without you. It's like, wow. Even the strongest women can get vulnerable and get stupid over love. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So my girl Martha's going through it. But at this point, she's dating the guy that helped find Microsoft. So she got big money, right? Big money. He has more money than her ex-husband does. So they're dating, child. But you know, during this time, he don't really want to be fooling with her too much because she got these charges, these pending charges. So he kind of even stepping back from her a little bit. But whatever, they were talking for about 15 years. So they still going strong, boyfriend and girlfriend, wow. So then she ends up getting sentenced. And, you know, they sentenced her. It's just a few months. She didn't do no real hard time. I don't even think she did a year and a half. I think she just did under a year. So, they sentenced her to this prison, and she goes and she gets her checkup because my girl's like, listen, if I gotta go to jail, if I gotta go to prison, I'm gonna make sure that, you know, I'll look cute or whatever. I'm gonna make sure this body is right. So she goes to the dentist, she gets her body right, you know, probably gets all her facials, probably gets, you know, whatever she gotta get because she knows she's about to sit down for a little while and it's not about to be luxurious. So it's actually funny because she sat down with Barbara Walters and Barbara Walters was like, girl, do you even know what prison is gonna be like, Martha? And it's like, girl, do you know what prison is going to be like, Barbara Walters? Like, why are you asking this lady this? She don't know nothing about prison either, but did Martha know about prison? Absolutely not. Whatever. She got there. She was shell-shocked. She was in solitary confinement because she touched a guard. She told a guard that they look nice today. They put my girl in solitary confinement. They were not playing with her. Then she was upset because her boyfriend, the really, really rich one, he would not come and see her, y'all. She would write him and be like, oh, it'd be so nice to see you. Child, he came and saw her one time during her whole sentence. But let me tell you how he made up for it. Big bank take little bank. When it's time for her to come home, he didn't send a car. He didn't send a taxi. Child, he sent a plane to come and pick my girl up. My girl went home in style. And she a real one because she was wearing a poncho that one of her jail friends made for her. It was cute. She was a real one. But yeah, child. Next thing she knew, the boyfriend was like, I'm leaving you for Linda. My girl said, who is Linda, child? Linda is like the daughter of like the prime minister of Sweden. Again, another example of people with money date within their circle. So yeah, so he left her child for Linda, and now Linda got him and Linda, they've been married ever since. This probably happened like the early 2000s. They got 2 kids together. They're teenagers right now. So yeah, he really left her for Linda, and she was obviously devastated because she was like, who is Linda? And then he said, when I marry Linda, her family is like, you know, I can't talk to you anymore. So yeah, she probably hasn't heard from him since. But when she came back, it took her a little while to get back on her feet. You know, people did not it's just so sad how vindictive and evil and mean people can be out of jealousy. And we see it happen all the time. This story with Megan Thee Stallion, this story with Kamala, this story with Martha Stewart, they're all stories of how much people hate women. It's really, really true. And I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I don't know why I said that. I don't hate to say it. It's the truth. It's reality. But these type of women always come out on top. Even with the whole Martha Stewart downfall. Somebody actually said, somebody interviewed a fan and said, why do you hate Martha so much? This is when she was going through the whole trial, whatever. And I quote, she said, folks love seeing her downfall. You always want to see Little Miss Perfect fail. The trade was only worth $45K. Do you think she would risk insider trading over $45K? Like, come on now. So yeah, you always want to see Little Miss Perfect fail. You guys, if these are not, ladies, if these are not lessons that when you are skyrocketing, you cannot keep haters around you. And this is a random person. I'm just saying that not only can you cannot keep haters around you, you cannot keep anyone around you who shows you an inch of jealousy. You can't afford it, because people love to see people fail, and it's sick and it's sad, and I hate that that's where we live, but it's where we live and it's what it is. And yeah, all you could do is stay prayed up and keep your hater blockers on and keep focused and keep your eyes on your own lane. That's the only way that you won't fall, and that's the only way that you will make it. I promise you. You can't listen to the distractors. You can't listen to the noise. Even if you fail, it doesn't matter. Pick yourself up and move on. Fail again. Pick yourself up. Move on. You're gonna fail again. Pick yourself up. They're gonna throw rocks at you. Pick yourself up. Move on. You're gonna fail again. Pick yourself up. They're gonna throw rocks at you. They're gonna spit on you. It does. Get up. Get up, girl. Get up. Every time you have to get up. That is the only way that you are going to be able to prevail. I know it's hard. It sucks. It's not fun. But you have to get through this hard time. Whoever you are. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. I'm probably talking to myself. You have to get through this hard time. Girl, get up. I digress again. So yeah. My girl came back from jail. She was all distraught, child. She didn't have her company. They done took her companies over, kicked her off the board, kicked her out as CEO. But she ended up selling her company. She was still involved, but she didn't own it anymore. So she was just like, it's not the same, but whatever. And then her career skyrocketed again. See what happens when you get up? See what happens? Her career skyrocketed again. I think she was in her 60s or her 70s. But she ended up doing the roast show with Justin Bieber. You know, when they roast you and everything. And she was sitting next to Snoop Dogg. And people just thought that was so entertaining that that's how she ended up getting the show with her and Snoop. And that's how most of us, at least maybe the second half of millennials and Gen Z, that's how we really know her, as the woman that's doing the show with Snoop. My girl has had so many lives, so many lives, and it's just a testament to, you have to get up, girl. You have to get up. You have to keep pushing. They're gonna throw rocks at you. They're gonna throw stones. It's gonna be miserable. You're gonna be by yourself, but you have to keep going. And that's what Martha did. My girl didn't give up. She's like, y'all not gonna count me out. You're gonna have probably a little bit level of a little tad bit of narcissism, a little bit, because I feel like she didn't care. She was like, I made it. I know I'm gonna be great again. But one thing that she said, what it is to be her is preposterously perfect and sometimes lonely. That's what it is to be a woman. Like, I love that quote at the end. So yeah, y'all. If that's not a lesson to you, I don't know what is. If that's not a lesson to you, I don't know what is. So yeah, y'all, if that is not a lesson to you, I don't know what is. We're going to, whatever's going on right now in this country, it is not going to be going on forever. We're going to push through. We're going to prevail. We always prevail. Remember, we came here as slaves, and look as far as we've come. We will always push forward. The good guys will always win. God is always on our side, and evil never prevails. Well, it does sometimes, but not for a long time. Thank y'all so much for coming into another episode of Let's Talk About Life with me, your girl Keisha, aka your favorite journalist. I love you guys so much, and tune in for next time.